Hello. Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches. Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much for that introduction. Thank you, President Javier Palomares. It's a real honor. It's a true honor to be here tonight with you. I have been impressed by everything I've heard thus far and by the tremendous presence of so many business leaders transforming the economy of this country on a daily basis. I understand that your conference has been a great success, and I want to congratulate you all. I hope the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce continues to energize you and magnify your voices in the years ahead, as it has done it for the last 36 years. Felicidades por el aniversario. Felicidades. I was amazed to read on USHCC Twitter feed and in the Wall Street Journal that the Hispanic population may account for 40% US job growth by 2020. Of course, it is not nearly so surprising after talking with some of you and feeling the energy here tonight. No wonder the Hispanic-owned businesses grow 3 times faster than the US average. You are marking your 36th anniversary. The United Nations is observing the 70th this year. The UN was founded on the ashes of World War II and the horrors of the Holocaust. Since then, the UN has devoted itself to improving the standards of living around the world in larger freedom. The United Nations provides food to 90 million people in 80 countries because no one deserves to go hungry in this world that has more than enough food to feed everyone. We vaccinate 58% of the world's children, saving 3 million lives a year, because no child should die from preventable diseases. We fight poverty by helping to improve the health and well-being of 420 million rural poor, because lifting people out of poverty is our common responsibility. We mobilize $22 billion in humanitarian aid for people affected by emergencies, because we have to help those who are most vulnerable. And we have more than 120 men and women serving in peacekeeping missions around the world to help countries and societies come together at the times of conflict or prevent them. Yet, there is much more it can still be done. One person dying from hunger, from lack of medical care, from poverty is one person too many. The year 2015 is not only about the UN 70th anniversary, it is also critical for other reasons. This year is the time for global action in order to achieve the future we want. We have to combat climate change and steer ourselves towards sustainable development. People and organizations all over the world are demanding leadership and action from governments, from businesses, and from the civil society. We know that proven and affordable solutions already exist. It's time to redirect our technology, financial resources, and ingenuity to transform economies, ensure equality, and promote a sustainable future. Let me say as well, a future in which gender equality is at the center of what we do. I know among you there are many women and men that fight for gender equality. This requires leadership from governments, from businesses like yours, and from the civil society. And the private sector is the bedrock of stability for creating jobs. There are so many ways you can continue to contribute, but let me just expose two. First, eradicating poverty and living a healthy environment for future generations is not something the United Nations and governments can do alone. Building a sustainable world needs the full involvement of the private sector and of the civil society. And I am convinced that we are at the verge of a major transformational change. We understand more and more that it is possible to grow the economy and to build prosperous societies in a sustainable manner. This year, the 193 members of the United Nations are aiming to adopt new sustainable development goals. These goals will advance an agenda to eliminate extreme poverty and to build prosperity and well-being while protecting the environment. Countries are also working to reach a meaningful universal climate change agreement in Paris later in the year in December. In many ways, the private sector is well ahead of governments in recognizing and realizing a sustainable future. Indeed, many of the recent successes in development and climate change have been achieved through public-private partnerships with the power to mobilize finance, expertise, and knowledge. A sustainable approach to businesses is helping to create decent jobs, improve public health, empower women, and protect the environment. Many companies are reaping benefits by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and by using energy cleanly and efficiently. More and more businesses are seeing that sustainability is not just the common good, but is common sense. This trend was clearly evident at the Climate Summit in the United Nations last September, where leaders from the business, financial, banking, and insurance sectors made new commitments to green their operations and business models. We saw major food producers announce that they were greening their supply chain. We heard oil and gas CEOs say that they would reduce emissions in their own operations. And we heard finance and pension fund CEOs talk about how they will decarbonizing their investment portfolios. We see 2015 as the pivotal year for businesses to show loud and clear their commitments to a low-carbon, sustainable future. It is a year which everyone will be watching. This leads me to the second point. My second proposal to you is to consider joining the United Nations Global Compact and other UN businesses partnerships as a way to help make the difference. The UN Global Compact is an initiative for businesses that are committed to aligning their operations and strategies with 10 universally accepted principles in the areas of human rights, labor, environment, equality, and anti-corruption. I encourage you to consider joining us and getting involved. Friends, I hope you will consider these two proposals, and I encourage you to continue to think big for your companies and communities, and also for the larger global family we are part of. The Hispanic community that you so proudly represent has grown because thinking big is a time to keep on, and 2015 transformative agenda will be a reality with the efforts and the contributions of business leaders like you. Thank you very much.
And now, from the company that brings together the best